A single scream slices through the penthouse. Aurora Carter, 7 months pregnant, sprawls across a marble floor. Her head throbs, her hands trembling as she tries to steady herself. Around her, shards of shattered crystal glisten under the chandelier's cold light. She struggles to draw breath, eyes wide with terror. Rowan Blackwell stands above her, fists clenched. His gaze is as sharp as shattered glass. Moments ago, the world saw him as a billionaire visionary, charming, refined, the kind of man who dominates headlines with philanthropic galas and corporate takeovers. But here, under flickering lights, the facade has vanished. "Don't test me," he warns in a low growl, stepping closer. The expensive leather shoes he wears crush glass fragments into the floor. "You have no idea how far I'll go." Aurora swallows hard, protective instinct forcing her to place a hand over her swollen belly. She's fought him before, but never like this. The raw menace in his voice is new, terrifying. She tries to speak, her lips part, but fear knots her words into silence. A phone vibrates on the marble counter. It's his phone. He ignores it. The tension in the air is suffocating, as if oxygen itself fears Rowan's rage. A single maddening thought presses into Aurora's mind. He might hurt me and our child. The idea sears through her, adrenaline flooding her veins. She forces herself to breathe, to think, to find a way out of this sudden violence. Rowan's chest rises and falls. He finally steps back, an eerie calm settling over him. "Get up," he orders, voice measured now, but no less dangerous. She moves slowly, glass crunching beneath her knees. Her heart pounds so loud, it drowns out every thought, every other sound. This is not the life she imagined when she married Rowan Blackwell. The vow she took, the ring she wears, and the child she carries, none of it seems real in this moment of pure terror. His phone vibrates again. He turns away to snatch it, and Aurora scrambles to her feet. She clutches the nearest piece of furniture, blood roaring in her ears. She glimpses her reflection in the mirrored wall, disheveled hair, tears streaked across pale cheeks, an expression of utter disbelief. She never planned for war, but war has found her. You think this moment is intense? It's only the beginning. Aurora doesn't realize it yet, but her entire world is about to unravel. Stay with her as she fights for something far greater than a marriage, her very survival, and the future of her unborn child. Sunlight washes over the penthouse the next morning, streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. From a distance, it's a breathtaking view of the city skyline, glittering waters in the harbor, a sprawling testament to wealth. But inside, the air is dense with unspoken tension. Aurora, her arms wrapped around her belly, stands by the window. She can still feel the phantom ache in her knees from last night. She hasn't slept. Dark circles rim her eyes. Her phone lies silent on the glass dining table, a device that, ironically, feels like a prison. Rowan monitors her calls. He once claimed it was for her protection, but it's really about control. She senses movement behind her. It's Simone Latimer, Rowan's longtime house manager, a silent observer. Simone rarely speaks, yet her watchful eyes miss nothing. As Simone places a cup of tea on the table, Aurora catches a flicker of pity in the older woman's expression. Rowan strides in, phone pressed to his ear, orchestrating a corporate deal with that unwavering confidence. His voice booms, "Set the final terms. I want the board to see immediate returns. No excuses." He ends the call abruptly. He notices Aurora, spares her a curt nod. Gone is the violence from the night before, replaced by a cold indifference. "You look tired," he says, as if reading from a script of forced concern. Aurora's pulse quickens. She wants to bring up the shattered vase, the threats, the fear, but words die on her tongue. Instead, she murmurs, "I couldn't sleep." He steps closer, adjusting his cufflinks. "You need to keep yourself together," he says quietly. "When the baby comes, we'll be in the spotlight. We don't need speculation. The baby, the reason she once believed Rowan could change. She had convinced herself his heart would soften at the prospect of fatherhood. Instead, His ambitions only grew, and he treats her pregnancy like a strategic move to uphold a family-friendly image. Simone busies herself in the kitchen, but Aurora knows she's listening. She can almost feel the empathy in that silent presence, a single ally in a house that belongs to Rowan. Outside, a helicopter drones past, heading toward the private helipad across the bay. It reminds Aurora of the times Rowan whisked her away to corporate galas and yacht parties. She had been dazzled by him, a brilliant mind, a commanding presence. She ignored the small cracks, his need for control, his dismissive attitude toward her opinions. Now, those cracks have become fractures, threatening to swallow her whole. Rowan's phone rings again. He picks up, retreats to another room, alone. Aurora gingerly touches her stomach. The baby stirs, as if sensing her turmoil. Fear seeps into her thoughts. Her gaze drifts to Simone. Their eyes meet, if only for a second. There's something in Simone's expression that says, "I see you." It's not enough, but it's something. In that moment, Aurora feels an overwhelming sense of injustice. She's trapped in a gilded cage, overshadowed by a man whose empire thrives on intimidation. She's pregnant, exhausted, and very nearly broken. But a quiet voice inside her insists this can't go on forever. She doesn't realize it yet, but seeds of rebellion are already taking root, watered by last night's terror. Her story of injustice has only begun. By midday, Rowan has left for an urgent board meeting. The penthouse feels eerily still. Aurora watches him depart from the balcony, hearing the low hum of the private elevator as it descends. A swirl of dread and relief washes over her. She heads to the kitchen, determined to eat something. Her obstetrician once told her how crucial consistent nutrition is during pregnancy. Yet the thought of food makes her uneasy. Her nerves are frayed. Simone steps forward. "Ma'am, may I fix you something?" "Just toast." Aurora replies softly. Simone nods, then speaks in a gentle tone. "You should rest. Stress isn't good for the baby." Aurora's eyes widen. It's the first time Simone has ever offered advice that feels personal. "I'm trying," she whispers. As Simone slides bread into the toaster, Aurora's phone lights up on the counter. The screen reads, "Miriam Lang." Aurora's heart leaps. Miriam is her oldest friend, a fiery spirit who once warned Aurora not to get swept away by Rowan's charm. They haven't spoken much since the wedding. Rowan's presence cast a quiet wedge between Aurora and her friends. She glances at Simone, who quietly slips out of the kitchen, sensing Aurora needs privacy. Aurora answers in a hushed tone. Miriam, a burst of concern, greets her. "Aurora, I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Is everything okay? You sound off." Aurora's eyes burn with tears she's fought to hide. She wants to say she's fine, but the words taste like lies. She draws a shaky breath. "There's a lot going on." Rowan Miriam's voice tightens. She never liked him. "Look, I'm in town. Can we meet?" Aurora hesitates, the memory of Rowan's controlling nature fresh in her mind. But she needs an anchor, a lifeline. I'll try." They arrange a brief meeting in a discreet cafe near the old neighborhood. As Aurora ends the call, a flicker of hope stirs. Perhaps there's a way out. Later, Aurora takes a subdued black sedan from Rowan's fleet under the pretense of a doctor's appointment. She instructs the driver to drop her 2 blocks away from the actual destination. Stepping out onto the busy sidewalk, she feels a tremor of fear. If Rowan discovers her deception, his wrath could be worse than last night's. But she presses on. At the cafe, the cozy scent of coffee and pastries envelops her. She spots Miriam at a corner table, wearing an expression of relief and worry. Aurora slides into the seat opposite her, trying to still the trembling in her hands. Miriam's eyes narrow as she studies Aurora's face. "Oh God, he's hurting you, isn't he?" Aurora's throat tightens. She can't answer, but tears brimming in her eyes speak volumes. Miriam reaches across the table, gripping her hand gently. "You don't have to say it. I can see it." Her voice softens. "We'll figure something out." But Aurora can't imagine how. Rowan's power seems insurmountable. He's a man who's crushed competitors without flinching. Who would stop him from crushing her, too? As they talk, Aurora notices a figure outside the window, a man in a sleek suit, scanning the street. Her heart skips. Is it one of Rowan's watchers? She looks away, pulse racing. Miriam senses her panic. Calm down. Breathe. Aurora forces a shaky exhale. If Rowan's men are following her, she'll pay for this meeting. But she clings to Miriam's hand, determined to find a glimmer of hope in the darkness, unaware that the final betrayal is already in motion. An hour later, Aurora parts from Miriam with a promise to keep in touch through a secure messaging app. She moves quickly along the sidewalk, aware of every pair of eyes that might be tracking her. She regrets not wearing a scarf or hat, anything to hide her face. When she finally slips into the Blackwell Tower's private elevator, a creeping dread gnaws at her. Meeting Miriam was a risk, but she had to reach out. For her sanity, for the baby, she returns to the penthouse, only to find Rowan sitting in the living room. Jacket tossed aside, tie undone. He has a crystal tumbler in one hand, the amber swirl of whiskey reflecting in the evening light. His gaze snaps to her the moment she steps in. Doctor's appointment ran late, he asks, voice tinged with suspicion. Aurora's heart hammers. Her mind races for an excuse. Wait, the OB wanted more tests. You know how these checkups can go. He sets down his glass, stands. Yes, I do. He walks toward her, eyes never leaving her face. The driver said you had him parked near a pediatric clinic, but you were gone for almost 2 hours. Her pulse races. It was crowded. Rowan cuts her off. Tell me the truth. Were you alone? She feels like a cornered animal. Of course. Who else would I be with? His jaw tightens. For a moment, she thinks he'll raise his hand again or lash out like the previous night. Instead, he exhales, picks up his tumbler. I don't like secrets. Aurora. She meets his gaze, summoning every ounce of courage left. I'm not keeping secrets. I'm trying to care for myself, for our child. Our child, he echoes softly. Something in his expression flickers anger, regret, or fear. It's impossible to tell. Then, in a brisk shift, he empties the whiskey in one gulp and brushes past her, exhausted. Aurora retreats to the master bedroom. She locks the door behind her, chest heaving with relief. For now, it's a small victory Rowan's temper withheld, but she knows it won't last. She flicks on a lamp and checks her reflection in the floor-length mirror. She looks pale, haunted. This can't be her life, can it? She slips out of her shoes, noticing her ankles are swollen. The stress is taking its toll on her body, and she's only in the 3rd trimester. A vibration on the nightstand startles her. Her phone. A single text from Miriam reads, "Got your back, anytime, love you." Aurora's hand shakes as she types a quick response. She glances at the closed bedroom door, imagining Rowan just outside, listening. Her nerves are raw, her emotions frayed. Yet, in the quiet of this oppressive penthouse, something shifts inside her. Yes, she's terrified. Yes, she's trapped, but she's not alone, and she's not powerless. Maybe Rowan's empire looms large, but Aurora's maternal instinct is stronger. She has to protect her child from this toxic world. She places a hand on her belly, feeling a gentle kick. A spark of hope blooms. Then, footsteps outside the door. She tenses. The handle rattles once, but doesn't turn. Rowan's footsteps fade. Aurora releases the breath she'd been holding. In the silence, she steels herself. The next chapters of her life will be a battle for freedom. She just has no idea how brutal it will get. A quiet dawn reveals a slice of Rowan's humanity, at least on the surface. He stands in his private study, scanning old photographs on a sleek digital frame. Aurora peeks in, drawn by the soft glow. She notices an image from Rowan's childhood, a younger version of him standing beside a stern-faced man in a navy suit, Rowan's father. He senses her presence. A flicker of vulnerability darts across his face before it hardens into neutrality. He turns off the frame abruptly. You shouldn't sneak up on people, he says. I wasn't sneaking. She replies, I've just never seen you look at those photos. Rowan exhales, stepping away from the digital frame as though it burns him. They're not for public display. She picks up a small picture he left on the desk. Rowan, maybe 12 years old. Forced smile, eyes hollow. The man beside him stands tall, a hand gripping Rowan's shoulder with more force than affection. Aurora notices the small bruise near Rowan's temple in the photo, a bruise that looks suspiciously like a handprint. Your father. She starts softly. Rowan snatches the photo from her. That's none of your concern. He's about to walk away, but something in Aurora's expression stops him. She's searching his eyes, seeing a reflection of the pain she's lived with: fear, intimidation, abuse. Rowan, she murmurs. I didn't know. His face hardens. What difference does it make? He's dead. She steps closer, laying a gentle hand on his arm. It made you who you are, she whispers. But he wrenches free. Rowan's phone pings a message about a business deal. He uses it as an excuse to escape. The door slams behind him. Aurora is left alone in the study, heart heavy with a new realization. Rowan wasn't always the monster she sees now. Once, he was a boy subjected to a father's cruelty. Instead of sympathy, an odd swirl of anger and sadness churns in her. Does personal trauma justify what he's doing to me? She can't answer. Later that morning, Aurora heads down to the building's ground floor on the pretense of picking up a package. She needs fresh air. The gilded foyer is quiet, marbled floors reflecting the overhead lights. A security guard stationed near the entrance eyes her politely. Outside, a chauffeured SUV pulls up Rowan's personal driver. A tall figure steps out: Milo Henderson, a rival billionaire who runs Henderson Industries. Rowan despises him, often calling him a two-bit upstart. So why is he here? Aurora slips behind a pillar. Curiosity piqued. Milo strides in, shoulders squared, exuding confidence. The guard ushers him to a private elevator leading directly to Rowan's office suite. Questions flood Aurora's mind. What business do they have together? Are they forming an alliance, or is this another power play? She retreats to a bench, the city's hum enveloping her. For a moment, she's not just a victim or a pregnant wife. She's a woman tethered to a labyrinth of secrets. Rowan's father, Rowan's shady dealings, the possibility of alliances with enemies. She wonders how deep the darkness goes. The breeze on her face feels like a rare taste of freedom. She closes her eyes, letting the city's noise wash over her. A fleeting sense of resolve anchors her. She will uncover the truth, no matter how much it hurts, unaware that the hidden past extends beyond Rowan's childhood. Soon, she'll learn of another betrayal, a deeper thread that will shift everything she thought she knew. That afternoon, as Aurora heads back to the penthouse, she finds Simone tidying the living area. Something about Simone's expression suggests she wants to talk. Aurora hesitates, then quietly says, "Is there something you need?" Simone sets down a stack of folded linens. She glances at the hallway, ensuring they're alone. "I've worked for Mr. Blackwell a long time." She begins carefully, long enough to see patterns. Aurora's heart stutters. "Patterns," Simone nods, voice trembling slightly. "He's repeating what was done to him. You've seen the photograph in his study, haven't you?" Aurora nods. "He told me very little. His father hurt him." Simone's gaze flickers with pity. "He never spoke of it openly, but once I heard his mother begging to leave. She had bruises. Mr. Blackwell was just a boy. I think he learned that power was everything." Aurora's chest tightens. It doesn't excuse Rowan's behavior, but it explains the twisted roots. Simone leans closer, whispering, "There's more." The father forced Rowan into cutthroat business deals from a young age, taught him that showing mercy is weakness. She pauses, swallowing. It turned him cold. Aurora fights a surge of conflicting emotions: pity, anger, sadness. "Why are you telling me this?" Simone's voice falters. "Because if you leave without a plan, it could be dangerous. And if you stay, it could be worse. I've seen how bad it can get." A hush envelops them. Aurora sets a hand protectively over her belly. I'm running out of options. What can I do? Simone exhales. First, gather evidence, documents, recordings, anything that shows what Rowan does behind closed doors. If he tries to ruin you legally, you need proof of his abuse. Just then, footsteps approach. Simone instantly stands tall, adopting a neutral expression. Rowan's presence fills the doorway, his eyes shifting suspiciously between them. Are we interrupting a coffee break, he asks, tone cold. Simone bows her head. I was just leaving, sir. She hurries out. Aurora musters a shaky smile. I was asking for help finding the baby's blankets. Rowan studies her. The moment stretches too long. Then he gestures for her to follow him to the living room. On the coffee table, he has an array of baby care products, top-of-the-line strollers, designer clothes. I purchased these. He says without warmth, you should finalize the registry for the baby shower next week. The mention of a baby shower stings. Aurora has no close family here. Rowan's business associates will fill the guest list. She manages a nod. Okay, he adds. Reporters may attend. Smile. Say the right things. His words clang in her mind. Say the right things. A script for a perfect life. Yet behind the scenes, she's frightened and trapped. She glances at the hallway where Simone vanished. For the first time, Aurora sees a glimmer of a path forward. Gather evidence, plan carefully, and break free. Rowan thinks he's controlling the narrative, but she's begun writing her own. If only she knew how quickly her illusions of safety will crumble under the weight of a new, darker secret soon to surface. Evening arrives with a thunderous storm. Lightning flashes across the penthouse windows. Aurora sits in the dimly lit bedroom, phone in hand, staring at a text from Miriam. I found something. About Rowan's father. Call me. Urgent. Her stomach lurches. She slips into the hallway. Ensuring Rowan is occupied, he's in his office making calls. Voice raised. She hears references to Henderson Industries. Tension crackling through the door. Perfect. He's distracted. Aurora tiptoes to the guest bedroom, locking the door. She calls Miriam. The line picks up after one ring. Aurora, I did some digging. Miriam whispers. She's cautious, as if someone might be listening. Rowan's father had a shell company that funneled money into bribes and hush funds. When he died, Rowan inherited it all. Some of those funds were used to pay off. She hesitates. To pay off a settlement. Settlement for what Aurora's pulse pounds. Miriam breathes into the phone. A woman who alleged physical abuse, and more. The documents show Rowan authorized final payment. Aurora closes her eyes. Another victim. Another woman. She wants to be surprised, but her heart just sinks. Did it name her redacted? But I have an address. She's in the city. A flash of lightning startles Aurora, and she nearly drops the phone. Should I? Well, talk to her, Miriam exhales. It's risky, but she might have the evidence you need. If Rowan paid hush money to keep abuse quiet, you have leverage. Aurora's mind reels. She's pregnant, stressed, and the stakes keep rising. Still, she can't ignore this lead. Send me the details. After the call ends, Aurora stands by the window, rain pounding the glass. She's outraged that Rowan's abusive patterns might have a deeper history than she ever imagined. A swirl of guilt and fear churns in her gut. She's not the first. She might not be the last if she doesn't act. Suddenly, the door handle rattles. She spins around. The door is locked, but Rowan's voice booms from the hallway. Aurora? Open up. She scrambles, quickly deleting messages and stashing the phone beneath a pillow. She unlocks the door, face carefully schooled into calm. He scans the room, brow furrowed. Why are you in here? Just needed some quiet, she murmurs, stepping aside. He glances around suspiciously, then notices the phone on the bed. His lips press into a thin line. Before he can confront her, the storm outside intensifies, thunder shaking the glass. A swirl of wind and rain distracts him. If you're not feeling well, he says in a measured tone, stay in the master bedroom. This room is for guests. Aurora nods submissively. heart hammering. She expects him to pry, to unleash fury, but Rowan just stands there, tension etched on his features. Finally, he leaves without another word. She collapses onto the bed, trembling with relief. Outside, the storm rages on, a mirror of her internal chaos. She knows now that her escape involves unearthing Rowan's hidden past and using it to secure her freedom. But can she gather enough evidence before Rowan's controlling grip tightens further? The clock is ticking. Each secret uncovered is a step closer to salvation, or a spark that ignites Rowan's full wrath. Morning breaks with an uneasy calm. Aurora slips out of bed, prepared for an errand that only Simone knows about. She requested the driver herself, telling Rowan she's off to finalize baby shower details. He barely acknowledged her, consumed by a corporate feud with Milo Henderson. Inside the SUV, Aurora's heart pounds. She clutches a slip of paper with an address scrawled in Miriam's handwriting. The driver, who rarely speaks, heads across town to a modest neighborhood, a stark contrast to the glittering tower Aurora calls home. She arrives at a narrow apartment complex. The paint is peeling. A faulty neon sign buzzes overhead. This is the last place she expects to find someone connected to Rowan's hush money scandal. Up 3 flights of creaking stairs, she locates apartment 3B. Her hand hovers above the door, nerves knotting in her stomach. She knocks softly. After a pause, the door opens a crack. A woman's cautious eyes appear. She looks to be in her 30s, hollow-cheeked, her hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. She glances at Aurora's pregnant belly, then back up. Yes, Aurora tries to steady her tone. I'm Aurora Carter. I'm married to Rowan Blackwell. The woman's face floods with alarm. She starts to shut the door, but Aurora pleads, "Please, I'm not here to harm you. I'm in trouble." A tense moment passes. Finally, the door opens wider, revealing a small, tidy living room. "I'm Summer Rhodes," the woman says, voice barely above a whisper. "Come in." They sit on a worn sofa. Aurora notices old bruising on Summer's arms, faint but unmistakable. She feels a surge of empathy and anger. "Rowan paid you to stay silent." Summer's eyes dart to the door. She nods. "It was years ago, before he became the mogul he is now. I tried to speak up, but he buried me in legal threats, used his father's connections. I was terrified." Aurora's eyes sting. "What did he do to you?" Summer's gaze drops. She rubs her wrist unconsciously. Physical abuse, emotional torment. "He tried to keep me locked away after I threatened to leave. He said no one would believe me if I went public. Eventually, I took a settlement to survive." Tears slip down Aurora's cheeks. She's living Summer's nightmare. "I need evidence." She manages. "I want to leave him, but he'll try to ruin me. Or worse." Summer hesitates, then stands, retrieving a small lockbox from a cabinet. She opens it, revealing photos, medical reports, even a battered phone. "These are duplicates of everything I had. I kept them as insurance." Her lips twist bitterly. "It cost me everything to gather this. I can't let him win again." Aurora's breath hitches. This could be the missing puzzle piece. Hard proof of Rowan's pattern of abuse. Why give it to me? Summer meets her eyes, tears brimming. "Because I don't want anyone else to suffer. If this helps you escape, then maybe I'll find peace too." Aurora gingerly takes the documents. Relief and horror mingle in her chest. She's not alone in her suffering, yet the cost is staggering. Summer clasps Aurora's hand. "Be careful. He's dangerous when cornered." Aurora nods, heart hammering. She leaves the apartment with the lockbox hidden beneath her coat. The SUV idles at the curb. Her mind spins with possibilities: a divorce, a restraining order, justice. But Rowan Blackwell won't go down easily. He'd kill to protect his empire. And Aurora senses that her next steps could ignite a war she might not survive. Back at the penthouse, Aurora carefully hides the lockbox in her walk-in closet beneath stacks of maternity clothes. She knows this is only half the battle. She needs an ally with legal clout. Later that evening, she fakes exhaustion and retreats to bed early. but sleep eludes her. At midnight, she slips out, heading to a quiet study near the guest rooms. She dials a number scrawled on a business card: Darius Cole, an attorney specializing in high-profile divorces and domestic abuse cases. Miriam recommended him. He picks up on the fourth ring. His voice is groggy but alert. Aurora explains who she is, alluding to urgent matters. He agrees to meet at his private office the next day, cautioning discretion. Just as she hangs up, footsteps echo in the hallway. She flips off the desk lamp, heart pounding. The door creaks open a fraction, and a narrow sliver of light from the corridor reveals Rowan's silhouette. Aurora, he calls softly, a mix of curiosity and suspicion. She forces a yawn, stepping into the doorframe. Couldn't sleep. Needed water. She lies, praying he won't inspect the study. Rowan's gaze drifts to the unlit desk, but he doesn't enter. "Come to bed," he says, voice tight. She follows him, each step feeling like treading thin ice. She climbs into bed, forcing her breath to slow. Rowan lies beside her, tension radiating from his body. She wonders if he can sense her secrets. Hits the next morning. As Aurora prepares to leave for her prenatal appointment, Rowan intercepts her at the front door with a tense expression. "Our private accounts are flagged," he says coolly. "There's a potential security breach, some unauthorized logins." Her mind spins. Did she trigger something while researching lawyers? She stammers, "Maybe it's a glitch." Rowan narrows his eyes. "I'll find out soon enough. Until then, you're not to make any large transactions or phone calls that aren't monitored by my security." A wave of panic engulfs her. If he clamps down on her phone, he might see her calls to Darius. She forces a calm facade. "Of course, whatever keeps us safe." She leaves, but instead of heading straight to the lawyer's office, she detours to a nearby cafe. Quickly, she texts Miriam from a burner phone hidden in her purse. Rowan's on high alert. "We need a new strategy." Miriam responds with a single line: "Meet me at 4 p.m., Jackson Square." Aurora's heart races. She's in deeper than ever. The walls are closing in. Yet, ironically, the lockbox of evidence sits in the closet, her hidden trump card. If she plays it right, she can expose Rowan's monstrous side and secure her freedom. But as the day unfolds, Aurora senses the danger intensifying. A quiet voice in her head whispers Rowan is 2 steps ahead. She tries to push it away, hoping she can outmaneuver him. Unbeknownst to her, he's already set a trap, one that will shatter any illusion of safety she still clings to. At exactly 4 p.m., Aurora arrives at Jackson Square, a small urban park dotted with benches and overshadowed by tall buildings. A sculpted fountain bubbles at the center, the sound offering a semblance of calm. Miriam waits by a bronze statue, glancing around nervously. Aurora approaches, scanning the area. "Do you think we're being watched?" Miriam's lips tighten. In Rowan's world, who knows? Let's walk. They circle the fountain, trying to appear casual. Aurora updates Miriam about the lockbox and her planned meeting with Darius Cole. Miriam nods appreciatively. "That's huge. If Darius can file a restraining order with that evidence, you have a strong chance." Yet Aurora remains tense. Rowan mentioned financial security breaches. "I worry he'll uncover my trail of communications." Miriam's gaze flits across the park. A man in a dark suit stands near a vendor cart, eyes flicking toward them. She nudges Aurora. "Time to go." They make a subtle exit, weaving through city blocks until they duck into a busy diner. Sliding into a booth, they order decaf coffees. Hearts pounding. Arrives as Miriam checks her phone. Her eyes widen. "Someone posted about you in an investors forum, saying you've been meeting with lawyers behind Rowan's back." Aurora's face drains of color. That can't be public knowledge. Miriam's hands shake as she shows Aurora the post. It's anonymous, but details are precise. "They claim you're trying to sabotage Rowan's business dealings. They're calling you the pregnant traitor." A surge of nausea hits Aurora. "He's poisoning the narrative against me. This is how he'll discredit me when I go public about his abuse." Miriam's jaw clenches. "We can't let that happen. Expose him first." Aurora braces herself, half sobbing, half raging. She pictures the stolen hush money docs, the photos of Summer's bruises, and then a jarring thought. If Rowan learns I have them, he might escalate beyond controlling finances. Miriam reads her expression. You're scared he'll hurt you physically. Aurora nods, tears threatening to fall. Or worse, she rubs her belly, protective instincts surging. We have to move fast. They plan to meet Darius Cole tomorrow morning. Aurora will bring the lockbox, and if all goes well, they'll file for an emergency protective order. Exiting the diner, tension clings to them like a shadow. Aurora hails a cab instead of using the black SUV. She instructs the driver to drop her a few blocks from Blackwell Tower, out of sight. Stepping onto the sidewalk near her building, Aurora's phone buzzes Rowan. She answers with feigned calm. Where are you, he demands. Voice icy. She lies. Traffic. I'll be home soon. He hangs up abruptly. Aurora exhales, adrenaline spiking. She has to conceal her plans carefully. One slip, and Rowan will tighten his grip, possibly never letting her leave the penthouse unmonitored again. Little does she know, by the time she returns, Rowan has already discovered something in the closet, and it will lead to pushing her to a precipice of despair. Aurora enters the penthouse at dusk, bracing for Rowan's wrath. The place is silent. Too silent. She sets her bag down, scanning the living room. No sign of him. She takes cautious steps toward the bedroom. Her pulse skyrockets when she sees the closet door ajar. Light flicked on. Inside, Rowan stands with the lockbox wide open on the floor. His eyes blaze with fury. Documents scattered at his feet, photos, medical reports, all bearing Summer Rhodes' name. Aurora's throat constricts. She fights the urge to flee. Rowan lifts a damning photo of Summer's bruised arms. He thrusts it at Aurora. What is this? She swallows hard. Evidence. Proof you paid hush money. Proof you hurt her. He laughs, a bodo, mirthless sound. This is slander. You have no idea the deals I've made to protect my reputation. Her voice trembles. I'm done being silent. I won't let you do to me what you did to her. She cradles her belly, stepping back. He crosses the room in 2 strides, seizing her wrist. You ungrateful. His rage is a living thing. After all I've provided, you think you can just walk away. With my child, tears blur her vision, but she refuses to cower. Your child. She's mine too. Rowan. And she deserves better than this. He slams the lockbox shut, face contorted with hatred. Who else knows? She manages to yank her arm free. I'm filing for divorce. For a restraining order. His eyes flare, crashes over them. He smashes his phone onto the table, revealing screenshots of Aurora's email to Darius Cole. Her text logs with Miriam. Everything. The security breach had been Rowan's covert infiltration into Aurora's communications. You were never 2 steps ahead. He sneers. I orchestrated half your illusions of freedom. Aurora's knees threatened to buckle. He was tracking her every move, every message. The magnitude of his control sends a chill through her spine. His voice drops to a lethal whisper. If you try to leave me publicly, you'll lose everything. I have lawyers. I have influence. You have nothing. A wave of helplessness crashes over Aurora. She closes her eyes, feeling the baby shift inside her. She imagines a life on the run. No resources. No stability. Yet an ember of defiance glows in her chest. Slowly, she reopens her eyes. I'd rather have nothing than stay with a monster. He lunges, gripping her shoulders. She braces for a strike, but he freezes, face contorted as if a storm of emotions rages within. With a shove, he pushes her aside and marches out of the closet, leaving chaos in his wake. She collapses to her knees, tears streaming. The war is no longer hidden. It's open, raw, and terrifying. She must act now, or risk losing her chance forever. Heart pounding, Aurora gathers the documents from the floor. She grabs a suitcase, stuffing whatever she can, clothes, papers, a few valuables. She doesn't have a plan, but she knows she has to leave tonight, In the distance, she hears Rowan on a phone call, barking orders. She steels herself, adrenaline surging. This is it. The final stand begins now. Aurora bursts from the penthouse, suitcase in hand, grateful that Rowan's security detail has changed shifts. She races to the private elevator, heart hammering with each passing floor. Down in the opulent lobby, the security guard eyes her with surprise. She forces a tight smile. Emergency hospital visit. She lies, hoping desperation in her voice is convincing. He doesn't question further. Outside, the city lights glimmer. Aurora flags a cab. She directs the driver to a small, nondescript hotel across town, a place she recalls from years ago, back when she was just Aurora Carter, not the pregnant wife of a billionaire. During the ride, her phone vibrates incessantly with calls from Rowan. She silences them, tears silently falling. Stay focused, she tells herself. This is the only chance she has. Upon arriving at the shabby hotel, she checks in using a different name, Aurora Quinn. The receptionist barely glances up, handing her a key to a cramped second-floor room. Inside, she bolts the door, sets down her suitcase, and slumps against the wall. A swirl of relief, fear, and heartbreak engulfs her. She's truly alone for the first time in months. No Rowan, no Simone, no controlling eyes, but the illusions of safety last mere minutes. Her phone buzzes an incoming message from an unknown number. We know where you are. You can't hide. R. Her stomach drops. The text could be a bluff, but Rowan's resources are vast. She stares at her phone, then quickly calls Darius Cole, the lawyer. Voice trembling, she tells him everything that happened. He instructs her to come to his office at dawn. He'll have emergency paperwork for a restraining order and potential divorce filing. Aurora ends the call, mind spinning. She checks the room's flimsy locks. Anxiety gnaws at her. What if Rowan's people are already on their way? Suddenly, the phone vibrates again. A call from Simone. Aurora hesitates, then answers in a whisper. Aurora, Simone says urgently, Rowan's men are searching for you. He's furious. I heard him threatening to crush you in court. Financially, any way possible. Aurora's voice shakes. Then it started. Simone lowers her voice. I know a safe house run by an old friend, Harriet Pierce. She's helped battered women before. Let me arrange it. You can't stay in that hotel. Emotion clogs Aurora's throat. Thank you. You don't have to risk yourself. I've seen too much not to help. Simone replies firmly. We'll get you through this. A wave of gratitude floods Aurora. She texts the hotel's address to Simone, then starts gathering her things. She has to keep moving. Outside, sirens wail in the distance. She imagines Rowan's fury mounting with each passing second. The confrontation is far from over. Yet she feels a flicker of hope. Allies like Simone, Miriam, Darius, they might tilt the scales in her favor. She steps back into the neon-lit street, suitcase rattling over cracked pavement. She won't let fear paralyze her. She has evidence, a plan, and an unborn child to protect. Rowan can chase her across the city, but he can't break her spirit anymore. The night air tastes like freedom, edged with danger. The final showdown looms closer, promising either liberation or devastation. Dawn finds Aurora in Darius Cole's private office, a modest space above a bakery, far from the skyscrapers Rowan haunts. Warm scents of bread and coffee drift in, a strange comfort amid the turmoil. Darius, mid-40s, calm-eyed, slides a stack of documents toward her. These are for the emergency protective order and preliminary divorce filings. We'll use the hush money evidence to demonstrate a pattern of abuse. Aurora cradles her belly, exhaustion tugging at her. He'll fight back. He already thinks I'm sabotaging his business. Darius nods gravely. Let him. Courts take domestic abuse very seriously, especially when there's tangible proof. But we must be prepared for every angle. He'll try to smear your reputation, question your mental stability, anything to regain control. She signs where indicated, feeling both relief and dread. Each signature is a step toward independence and a step into Rowan's crosshairs. Miriam arrives with coffee. She hands one to Aurora, glancing at the battered suitcase by the door. "We'll get you somewhere safe. Then file these motions. By the time Rowan's legal team reacts, we'll be ahead." Aurora manages a tight smile. The wave of relief is short-lived. Though, as Darius's phone rings, he answers, face darkening. Rowan's attorneys. He mouths to Aurora. A tense exchange follows. Darius keeps his responses cool. "My client is well within her rights." "No, intimidation won't work here. We'll see you in court." He hangs up, exhaling. "They're demanding you return to the penthouse, claiming you're mentally unfit to be alone. They threaten to request an immediate psych evaluation." Aurora's spine goes rigid. "He won't stop until he's destroyed me." Miriam sets a reassuring hand on Aurora's shoulder. "That's why we're not giving him the chance." Darius collects the paperwork. "I'll file these within the hour." Judges often grant emergency orders quickly when there's clear evidence. Rowan may have power, but the law's on your side right now. Before she can respond, her phone buzzes. A text from Simone News tip Rowan and Milo Henderson rumored to hold a press conference at 10 a.m. They may spin the story. Aurora's eyes narrow. He'll paint me as unstable while forging some alliance with his rival, Milo, to show stability, all to keep investors calm. Darius steps into the hallway. Phone in hand, "I'll call a contact at the local station to push our side of events. We need to counter any public narrative." Left alone with Miriam, Aurora feels tears threatening. She's overwhelmed by the fight ahead, the swirling alliances, the fear for her unborn child. Miriam hugs her gently. "Breathe," her friend whispers. "You're doing the right thing." Aurora nods, inhaling the comforting smell of coffee and fresh bread. This confrontation is no longer confined to penthouse walls. It's about to explode into the public arena. Rowan might claim she's crazy or incompetent, but Aurora's not alone. She closes her eyes, steadying herself. This is the final stretch. She's battered, but far from broken. If Rowan wants a public war, she'll give him the truth on every channel possible. Later that day, Aurora watches the live press conference on a small TV in Harriet Pierce's safe house, a cozy, secluded apartment Simone arranged. Harriet, a retired social worker, offers Aurora tea and rests a comforting hand on her shoulder. On screen, Rowan stands beside Milo Henderson. Cameras flash. Journalists surge forward. Rowan speaks with polished confidence. "My wife is unwell. I'm concerned for her state of mind, especially given the pregnancy stress. Our company stands strong and we're committed to Aurora's blood boils." He's gaslighting her on live television, weaponizing her pregnancy. She glances at Harriet. Is Darius's counterstatement airing right on cue? The channel cuts to a split screen. Darius stands outside the courthouse, documents in hand. His voice is calm yet firm. "We have filed for an emergency protective order on behalf of Mrs. Aurora Carter Blackwell, citing substantial evidence of domestic abuse. My client is not mentally unstable. She is a victim seeking legal protection." A wave of relief floods Aurora as reporters clamor for details. Harriet squeezes her hand, pride lighting her eyes. He's exposing Rowan. People will see the truth. Across the split screen, Rowan's face darkens. Milo stiffens, stepping away slightly. Aurora can almost taste Rowan's fury. A swirl of anxiety and triumph churns in her gut. Moments later, her phone pings with an update. Order granted. Rowan must stay 500 feet away at all times. Court date set. Darius Aurora releases a breath she's been holding for what feels like years. Harriet smiles warmly, congratulating her. Simone, who's been lurking near the window, wipes away tears of relief. Miriam bursts through the door, beaming. We did it. The press is going wild. Even Milo looks spooked. This is a turning point. Aurora, and it feels like one. Finally, Aurora has a shield, a legal boundary Rowan can't cross without severe consequences. She's safe, at least for now. The rest of the day passes in a blur of phone calls and short interviews. Aurora answers only a few, carefully orchestrated by Darius. She doesn't want to appear vindictive. She just wants the truth out. By evening, she settles in the small bedroom Harriet prepared. It's modest flowered wallpaper, a creaky bed, but it feels like sanctuary compared to the towering penthouse. Her body aches from stress, her belly heavy as the due date approaches. Simone stops by with a bag of groceries. They share a quiet meal around a tiny kitchen table. No lavish spreads, no fine china, just warmth and solidarity. As dusk settles, Aurora heads outside for a breath of fresh air. Street lamps cast a soft glow. She leans against the stoop's railing, hand on her belly. She can't remember the last time she felt safe stepping onto a sidewalk at night. Reflection, she didn't destroy Rowan out of vengeance. She stood up for her life and her child's future. This victory isn't about revenge, it's about freedom. A gentle breeze rustles her hair. She closes her eyes, letting relief wash over her. Her phone rests silent in her pocket, no more threatening texts, no more calls from an angry husband. For the first time in a long while, she feels at peace. She reminds herself the war isn't fully over. The court date looms, and Rowan won't vanish quietly. But she's found her strength, and it's a force that no threat can break. 1 week later, Aurora steps into family court. She's no longer trembling. Darius stands by her side, legal documents ready. Miriam offers moral support from the gallery, and Simone sits quietly, determined to testify if needed. Across the aisle, Rowan appears with a phalanx of expensive attorneys. He locks eyes with Aurora, an unreadable mix of hatred and regret. The judge calls order, then reviews the restraining order and the documented evidence of abuse. Testimonies follow. Summer Rhodes bravely steps forward via video call, describing Rowan's violence and hush money. Simone corroborates Aurora's account of intimidation and emotional cruelty. The judge listens intently, scanning each witness. Rowan's lawyers try to paint Aurora as an opportunist. They argue her mental health is questionable, but the hush money evidence and photographic proof overshadow their claims. Rowan's father's legacy of violence also emerges, forming a portrait of generational abuse. Hours pass. Finally, the judge rules that the emergency order remains in effect indefinitely. Divorce proceedings will move forward under a separate hearing, but Aurora retains custody rights. Rowan stands to lose considerable financial control, including asset freezes pending an investigation into hush money payments. The courtroom falls silent as the gavel strikes. Rowan's jaw clenches. Reporters huddle outside, cameras poised. Darius helps Aurora gather her belongings, relief washing over them both. They step into the hall. Photographers surge. A final wave of flashbulbs captures Aurora's exhausted but triumphant face. She looks straight into the lenses, not with arrogance, but with quiet resolve. This is her story, her victory. As she exits the courthouse, Rowan calls her name. She turns. For a moment, they lock eyes. He attempts a half-hearted apology, voice trembling. I'm sorry about everything. Aurora inhales. Once, those words would have shattered her defenses. Now, she sees them for what they are: too little, too late. She simply nods. I hope you find help, she manages softly. Then she walks away, each step lighter than the last. That night, Aurora returns to Harriet's safe house. She sits on the small porch, gazing at the stars. Simone brings dinner. Miriam chats animatedly, planning a quieter baby shower among real friends. Harriet hums an old tune in the kitchen. For the first time, Aurora imagines a future without fear, a nursery painted in gentle colors, a child growing up with laughter, a mother who fought for them both. Late into the night, Aurora's phone vibrates with an unknown number. She answers cautiously. A rough voice crackles through. Tell me, how did you get those documents from Summer Rhodes? I want them. Her stomach twists. This isn't Rowan's voice, it's someone else. Someone with a deeper menace. Who are you? She whispers. Silence. Then a dark chuckle. You took down Rowan, but you don't know the empire behind him. You've started a war. Aurora Carter. The line goes dead, leaving Aurora's heart hammering in her chest. She stares at the phone, a cold dread creeping in. The threat goes beyond Rowan. There's an unseen power at play, a bigger shadow behind the man she fought so hard to escape. She clutches her belly, every maternal instinct roaring to protect her unborn child. The victory she tasted this morning already feels fragile. Ever stayed silent when it cost you everything, Aurora chose to speak out. And she won for now, but a darker force stands in the wings, waiting. If you've been moved by her journey, share this story, comment below on what justice means to you, and subscribe for part 2 where the hidden empire behind Rowan Blackwell steps into the light.